The judiciary is the last hope of the common man to seek redress from all forms of injustice. And a nation without a functional judicial system is one sitting on a keg of gunpowder. To this end, there is the need for countries to run an independent and transparent judiciary system where justice is not just served, but must be seen to have been served. To entrench these ideals in the Nigerian society, a group of legal practitioners have launched an initiative called Public Interest Lawyering, targeted at supporting young lawyers interested in public interest cases, technically, financially, and intellectually. Joining us now via Zoom is the Executive Director, Environmental Rights Action and Friends of the Earth, Nigeria, Chima Williams. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, last week, your organization launched the Public Interest Lawyering Initiative of West Africa. What makes public interest lawyering different from the regular lawyers out there?
Yeah, I think the essence of the Public Interest Lawyering Initiative is to support what the regular lawyers do, but to advance it a little bit because public interest lawyering entails public-spirited service that leads to taking up unconventional cases, precedent-setting cases, cases that conventional lawyers may not easily take upon because they may not be able to offer pro bono services. They want to be paid fully for their legal services. The Public Interest Lawyering Initiative is to bridge that gap and give opportunity to those that hitherto may not have been had to have opportunity of being represented by lawyers that may not charge them fees, but will do the services as their contribution to the advancement of cause of justice and the protection of citizens' rights.
And these opportunities are inherent in Nigeria, aren't they? You know, what should make it attractive for lawyers, even though we may not see as many lawyers taking up such cases?
Yeah, there are some lawyers in Nigeria that are already doing that. But what Public Interest Lawyering Initiative is out to do is to identify such public-spirited lawyers, both young and old, both junior and senior lawyers, both those that have international exposures and those that have local exposures, bring everybody together under one umbrella, which will be easy for the masses to identify and reach out to.
All right. Now, one would think that perhaps maybe there are gaps in the system that PILIWA, that's the acronym for Public Interest Lawyering, is expected to bridge. That is why it is coming up with this initiative.
No, there are gaps identified because if there are no gaps, it will be meaningless to start up a public interest lawyering initiative in Nigeria. But because of the identified gaps, as I've already mentioned, that there are some cases that most commercial and conventional lawyers will not want to take up upon themselves. There are some cases that need some kind of degree of expertise and linkages for successful prosecution or defense. So these expertise and these linkages, because the Nigerian chapter of the Public Interest Lawyering Initiative has, sister partners from the 9 West African countries and others, that are supporting from Europe and America with research, with, some kind of leverages to ensure that cases are done. And as you did introduce, Iliwa is equally looking at an opportunity to put desk, public interest litigation desk, within the various chapters of the Nigerian Bar Association where they accept to have such desks. And then we are going to support such desk with some kind of financial, technical, support to ensure that some of the cases that the bar associations may want to take on that are limited by some circumstances, we will support those branches where we have the desk to collectively ensure that justice is secured for the Nigerian people.
Okay, but just open our eyes, further to the benefits of, this kind of legal practice going into public interest lawyering, and maybe give us an idea of, cases that, similar cases or related cases that, fall under this category.
Yeah, some cases that we will be taking up, we have to do with issues of environmental pollution, for instance, livelihood destruction, citizens' humanity despising, and some issues that have to do with governments, both at our national and at international, home and host country governments, and against corporations that violates the rights of citizens. So in this, we will equally be looking at citizens' civic rights protection. When we visited the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association Benin branch, one of the issues that was brought up was the issue of people that are held in prison custody over time. And some of them seem to be innocent. And we may be supporting the Benin branch of the NBA to investigate some of these matters and work with them to secure releases of those indigent citizens that are languishing in prison custody because they don't have anybody to speak up for them. These are some of the gaps that Iliwa intends to bridge.
Means that it is also looking at having collaborations with organizations who take up such cases.
Of course, we know that no one can do everything alone. It is collective and consultative decision and work. So we will identify similar organizations with similar objectives and collaborate. The whole essence is for justice to be given to as many Nigerians as possible.
Mr. Williams, you were speaking about the fact that collaboration was also going to be a part of the process. Now, this time I'm looking at the aspect of where the burden of proof, talking about gathering evidence, a situation where there is a cross-border trying to get evidence across the border, so to speak. How does PILWA coming?
Yeah, we are coming from a background of great experience in cross-country litigation. And in terms of evidence gathering, we have some level of legal expertise. And of course, as we made it clear, we are going to collaborate and partner with different kinds of organizations, research institutes, other professional bodies, like body of engineers, medical doctors, health researchers, university researchers, okay, and other institutes. We will collaborate, because if we have to do anything transnational, we must equally be transnational in our approach and in our dimensions. And as I've always taught and told my colleagues, if you want to chase after a multinational institution, you must be multinational in your own approach, in your own design, in your own determination, and your focus and your work. So you cannot stay in your cocoon alone and think you will solve all the problems of this world. You cannot.
All right, I wanted to know what options or what other options Pilewa would be looking at, as you go about your mandate. Would it be strictly litigation, bearing in mind the issues with delay and all that? Because, cases like this are very common in courts, and we all know how many cases suffer. You talked about prison decongestion, your prison decongestion drive, and somebody is in jail for a long period of time, awaiting trial, spending 10 to 15 years, if not more than. How do you work around these challenges, or are you looking at other options?
Of course, as public interest litigation lawyers, we understand that most of the cases are not won or lost within the four walls of the courtroom. And that is why we engage. Like what we are just doing now, we are exposing the opportunities that are available to Nigerian citizens to reach out to Pilewa for support when they qualify to be represented by Pilewa. Now, we have strategies that we put everybody on their toes for every case that we take. But of course, as lawyers, we understand that we are not totally in charge of what happens within the four walls of the courtroom. We may do our own best. What of our opponents? There may be natural assignments that will be given to the justices or the judges that will be presiding over the cases. If they are on national assignments, you cannot insist that they must see it because you have a case in courts, in their courts. You must respect that they are multitasking and there are other assignments that can be given to them. But within the limits of what we can do to fast track cases that we are handling, we will do everything, including using advocacy. So your question of when we are only going to depend on the use of the courts, no. We are going to look at every other opportunity that is available and open, including engagements, including the application of alternate dispute resolution mechanisms, including the use of non-judicial remedial mechanism processes. So we are going to be looking at different opportunities, different ways of bringing succor to the hitherto denied justice masses of Nigerian people when we have the opportunity and resources to do that.
Right. You have mentioned the fact that you collaborate with several bodies, and I'm wondering what your engagement with agencies of government would be like the police, for instance, because they are also critical in this process on the road to justice. What kind of engagement are you having with agencies of government?
Well, you know, Piliwa Nigeria was just launched last week. So it is our strategic thinking and plans that we are going to engage relevant justice dispensing institutions, organizations, and platforms. As much as possible, where we can work together, that would be great. And for the Nigerian police force, who are supposed to be our friends, we are going to explore that opportunity of friendship to create a relationship where we can work together, support their work, and extract support from them to dispense justice at all times without minding whether the victim, in quotes, is rich or poor. Justice to be dispensed to everybody based on evidence.
What about the scope of services that you offer to indigent residents of the country? How far are you willing to go? Because it's been said that, even after you offer these essential services to people who cannot afford to pay for legal services as a, on the face level, how far are you willing to go even after? Because these people are just left, if you take the example again of people who have been incarcerated for a long period of time now without their fates even determined, they've not even gotten to that stage. And when they do, they are, just left high and dry with nowhere to go. What is your mandate in that regard?
Well, I think the first mandate we have is to give them justice as much as possible, free of charge. And after that, what you're asking about is issue of rehabilitation. And rehabilitation is something that should be collectively done. If we are able to secure justice for them and bring them out of incarceration where they are innocent, because we are not going to pursue a case of somebody that they are clear evidence that the person committed the crime. The person will have to serve out his or her term, because that is the only way sanity can come into the society. But when they are doubt whether what the person is accused of was committed or not, we will want to support in resolving it in favor of such a person, because the dictum of law is that it is much better for 99 guilty persons to be set free.
All right, Mr. Williams, because we are running out of time, I need to quickly ask you this question.
Punished.
Yes, I need to quickly ask you this question.
Go.
Two questions in one. The first one is because this, we say justice is the last hope of the common man, so to speak. The judiciary, rather, is the last hope of the common man. How would this repose confidence in the justice system in Nigeria? That's one. On the other hand, how can people who are interested in this cause get across to you?
Well, thank you very much for that question. As practitioners, I believe in the judicial system of Nigeria with all sense of responsibility, because I have seen in my practice, both at national and international levels, that the judiciary of Nigeria, the Nigerian judicial system, dispenses justice when you merit it. There may be some few cases, of course, every society, have their own, idiosyncrasies, but the majority of the Nigerian courts dispenses justice.
All right.
And I believe in it. And I espouse it everywhere because I have tried different jurisdictions, and I can say that the Nigerian judicial system
All right.
is one of the
How
best.
can people reach out to you quickly, because we have to go now?
Now, it is very simple. We have our colleagues from the different geopolitical zones,
Right.
and we are going out to the states and to the local government areas.
Okay.
And then partnering with the MBA,
All right.
people can easily reach out to us through these openings.
All right. Executive Director, Environmental Rights Action and Friends of the Earth Nigeria, Chima Williams, thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you.